Hello, it's your boy Strato Phoenix here, and today I'm coming at you live with a product review. And so, the product that I'm going to be reviewing and discussing today is the Nobi lever, specifically the Nobi Pro Edition. So, there's two editions, there's a Pro Edition and there's a Standard Edition. The Pro Edition has a slightly heavier spring, it uses the LS38 spring for a little bit of a heavier feel, and the Standard Edition comes with an LS32 spring, which is also used in the LS40 stick, which is a lighter spring. Another difference between these is that this one comes with a special octo gate, which is sort of in between an octo and a square gate, right? So rather than being purely octagonal, it's kind of like it has a little bit of a squarish look and feel to it as well. So it's a nice in between. And the standard edition just comes with the standard squircle gate, so it's a in between square and a circle. So this is like in between square and octagonal. The other one's in between square and a circle, which is standard on most Seimitsu levers. And so I'm going to be discussing a good amount of things about this stick, right? So one of the things that sets this apart that makes it very special is the special bullet top, right? So rather than being a ball top, this right here is bullet top, right? So rather than ball top or a bat top, it's a bullet top, which is somewhat in between a ball and bat top. In fact, I don't know why they call it bullet top, because this look, if you can see this sort of resembles, a gear shift in a car, right? So a gear top would have been a better name for this rather than bullet top. But I don't know, I guess it could kind of be like a big ass bullet or whatever. But this looks more like a gear shift, and it functions really well like it would be a gear shift as well. And what I like about this, excuse me, bump my camera there. But what I like about this is that it's sort of in between a ball and a bat top, right? So I don't have them right here with me, and I don't feel like getting them out. But a ball top, just imagine I have one right here. It has a sort of circularity to it, which allows it to be very good for circular motions, which makes it very good for 2D fighters. While I believe that the bat top, is better for hitting single directions because it has a better sort of surface area for hitting it straight like that. You can do it with the ball top as well, but it just feels more intuitive to hit directions with a bat top. This combines the best of both worlds, as you have sort of the surface area to grab like a ball top, while also having that nice solid area similar to a bat top that allows you to hit directions rather nicely. Another thing, as you can tell from what I took it off, which I'll explain shortly how I could take this off, is that this stick, what makes it special is it comes with a non-rotating shaft. So compared to most levers, whether they be Japanese or Korean levers, this one has a non-rotating shaft. So if you notice, when you play with the standard lever, the ball top or bat top or whatever top you're using, it rolls a bit, right? And that's because of the shaft. The shaft rotates, therefore the ball top rotates. This, however, the shaft does not rotate. So this means that the bullet top, right, does not move. It does not rotate. It stays in place. And in fact, the bottom of the stick, which I think I might showcase it in the picture right here, it doesn't have the indentation where you're supposed to insert your flathead screwdriver, so that when you twist the ball top or bat top or whatever into place, it stays in place and it doesn't just come rolling off, right? This shaft doesn't have that at all, because it's a complete non-rotating shaft, so it doesn't need to have the indentation for you to stick your flathead in. And here, as you can see, I can just twist it off, and you never have to worry about this actually coming off during gameplay. I play with this stick for hours. It's never once come off, as you can see, throwing everything at it. And this bad boy, it's not coming off, as you can see. So you have to intentionally twist it off for this to come off. But when you're actually just playing the game, it never comes off, and it's very, very solid, right? So I'm going to showcase some inputs, using my boy Rock Howard, one of the GOATs. He's one of my favorite fighting game characters, but let's not get off topic here. So we got DPs here. We got this lever is very good for DPs because, as I said before, this has a special octo gate, which is somewhere in between a square and an octo gate. So you kind of have the best of both worlds with this stick, because you have the defined corners of an octo gate, but it's not as harsh as an octo gate, where when you like kind of like rub against the gate, it feels, you know, I never use an octo gate, so I can't, like a pure octo gate like on a Sanwa, so I can't speak from experience, but I did see a video talking about sort of the differences between a square and octo gate and a circular gate. And I would say, gathering from the video I saw, one of the downsides of, say, an octo gate, you know, one of the upsides is kind of great for riding the gate, but if you want to rub against the switches, there's not as much room, and it can be, I would presume it'd be kind of harder to hit the switch. I'm not actually sure, so don't quote me on that. I'm not, you know, I never use a pure octo gate, so I can't really speak on that, but I can speak at least for the octo gate in this one. It's very nice, and as you can see, quarter circle inputs very easy to come out and get. And just ignore Rock kind of spamming out, right? Just look at the inputs. It has a very fast inputs. You can get very rapid and accurate back forward inputs, or up down up down up down. And this stick, I'm slapping against it, and I'm not getting opposite inputs, right? Not getting any opposite inputs, so you don't get any. You don't have to worry about hitting a direction and hitting another direction, especially in a game like a shmup or something. You play like a shmup, you know, getting opposite directions is a no-go for those kinds of games. So this is very good for a whole variety of games, right? It's very good for circular inputs as well. As you can see, I'm getting all my directions here. As you see, pure quarter circle inputs. So that's quarter circle back. Let's do quarter circle forward. So yeah, man, just easy to ride the game, get your inputs. So we're going to do some up. The up back was a little bit tricky at first because I came from an LS40, which, fun fact, this stick's actually basically a modified LS40 because it uses the same PCB and micro switches as an LS40, but it of course does some changes with the shaft. It's a slightly longer shaft so that it can accommodate the I think it's called the SE plate or SS plate, whatever. It's the flat plate, right? It accommodates flat plates, right? And it accommodates the longer bullet top as well. So it's a different shaft. It's the non-rotating shaft, and it's a bit longer than LS40. And you of course you have the octo gate, but besides that, this is basically like an LS40. So yeah, it took me a little bit of time to adjust to this stick, mainly because the bullet top does have a slightly longer leverage, so compared to a ball top. So I kind of struggled initially because on a ball top I could have just lazily, especially on LS40, which has a very short engage distance and close micro switches, I could just easily just slide my thumb here. In fact, that's kind of like one of the downsides people say about the LS40s. That's very easy to get misinputs on that stick because of how short the engage distance is. But I never really struggled that much. But there'd be sometimes where I accidentally hit it. In this case, I think because you have a slightly shorter corners than like on a square gate, because it's an octo gate, so you have shorter corners, and combine that with the longer leverage of a bullet top, you know, it's harder to get accidental ups, which is good, but when you want to get it, it was initially a little bit of a trouble, but that's less to do with the stick and more me just being used to how, you know, easy it is to get up inputs right on a LS40. But as you can see, I'm doing pretty easy now, so I adjusted to it, and I just noticed I had to like intentionally hit up. So rather than being kind of lazy like I was on LS40, you could just kind of slide, you know. But here actually, you know, speaking of the devil, I'm actually hitting these up backs fairly easily, and sometimes compared to like a Japanese stick, I'm actually getting pure up backs, which is very rare on Japanese, you know, when you play with the square gate. Typically you get sort of like a back up input, right? You sort of like that, like a muddled input, because you're trying to hit it at the same time, but you wind up hitting back before you hit up, rather than at the same time, so you get a kind of muddle input, which doesn't matter when you're actually playing the game. But what's interesting about this is I'm getting a lot of times, well, in that case, no, well, actually, yeah, I did, I just kind of transitioned to a back. But yeah, I'm getting pure up backs, right? Pure up backs, right? Which isn't the biggest deal in the world, but it's just something to note. Like the corners, like once you get used to finding the corners, which sometimes because I'm used to Japanese stick with the square gate, sometimes when I think I'm blocking down back, I wind up being off by just like a millimeter, and I wind up screwing it up, right? A couple millimeters, and I wind up not hitting down back because I'm used to playing on a square gate. But you know, this is very rare. Most of the time I get my down backs when I want to get my down backs. So let me show you some let's see. Okay, let me show you this move right here, which is this command grab, which is a half circle back forward input. So let's do player one side, player one side, and then we're gonna do player two side. Okay, and as you can see, the inputs are really solid. So Raging Storm, just double core circle back. And because this game, compared to, let's say, something like King of Fighters, has a little bit simpler inputs, you don't get as many crazy stuff. A lot of it in this game is just core circles. So I'm actually going to switch over to King of Fighters to show you some more examples of what the stick can do. Alright, so as you can see, we switch over to the King of Fighters 15, and I'm going to show you some more inputs. So this game has a little bit more advanced, let's say, directional inputs compared to City of the Wolves, and so I'm going to showcase that here. So we're going to do Hyo's standard, whatchamacallit, his core circle C move, right? So as you can see, King of Fighters is a little bit lenient with its inputs, so you don't need to hit all the cardinal directions, but I'm going to do it just to showcase that you can indeed do it. For example, if you're playing an old school game like Super Turbo where you need to get all your cardinals and diagonals. That's what I meant to say earlier. I think I said cardinals by accident. But yeah, this game does require you to get all your diagonals. You do need to get the cardinals, but you don't need to get the diagonals. But I'm going to showcase that just so you can see that you're capable. Like when you play a game like Super Turbo, like as I was saying earlier, you can get all your inputs, right, that you need to get like your half circle inputs and whatnot. So reverse DP. Let me get this. Reverse DP. So yeah, man, this really solid stick. As you can see, I'm getting these inputs fairly easily. Let's see. Just getting everything, as you can see, just really simple. Let me switch over to Yori-san here. As you can see, pretty fast turn to neutral, able to get my taco backdashes rather consistently. Okay, that's just human error. But anyways, going to show you some Yori stuff right here. Yeah, in this game you only need to hit double quarter circles for the follow-up rather than 4 quarter circles like in the old school KOF games. But I just do that to flex on this stick, like how fast the return to neutral is. That's another thing I forgot to mention, is this game, this lever, has a very good return to neutral, which is very helpful for when you want to play a game like Tekken, which is this lever was designed for in mind. It's very good for that, and I'll actually showcase an example of that for how it's important in a 3D game, just not in Tekken. So as you can see here, we have transitioned to a 3D game, just not Tekken, but Virtua Fighter. So I've been playing a good amount of Virtua Fighter recently, and I've been really enjoying it. I'm still mostly 2D guy, but I do like Virtua Fighter. I think it is a really fun game, and yeah, I don't want to backtrack too much, but in this game, you know, although it's not as important as Tekken, having a good return to neutral is still very important, especially for certain things like in this game, which I'll showcase right here. This game, I'll actually show you the explanation. So this requires you to quickly hit, you know, a sidestep move, so either up or down, then quickly double tap and hit guard, right? Hit your guard button. And if you don't have a fast enough return to neutral, this can be tricky, as you're not returning to neutral fast enough, and when you try to get that quick double tap, it's just not returning to neutral fast enough, right? It's just physically not doing it. And so when I was trying to do this on an LS32 and an LS40, because it was too light. It just wasn't returning to neutral fast enough, right, for me. But because of the heavier spring tension, you know, and as you can see, just super fast, right? You know, it's a lot. I found it a lot easier to do on here, so I'm gonna try to showcase this. I'm not a Virtua Fighter expert, so I will try my best and at least try to do it one time because this can be tricky. But oh, got it first time. All right, wasn't able to get it that time, but first try. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, it's a little bit tricky, but I did get it the first time. Shows you're able to. Yeah. I gotta factor in this game has a 12 input buffer, so I think I gotta like input it earlier, perhaps. Yeah. Yeah, this is just human error at this point, guys. So just take my word for it. I can't do it now, and I don't want to take up too much time. But as you can see, I was able to do it the first time, so just take my word for it. It was more consistent to do with this stick. Alright, last but certainly not least, we got Super Turbo, and I'm going to be using this game as an example because this is an old school game, and like I was saying before, if you want to get your inputs, you got to get every single input, right? I think this is like a really good showcase for the stick. So one thing is I'm going to show neutral, so we'll show you how fast the return to neutral is on this damn thing. Look at that. You know, people say, "Oh, hitbox, man, you can go so crazy." Right? Try to go that fast on a hitbox, man. You're gonna be screwing up your fingers, right? So you can do that. Hadokens. We got Shoryukens, right? Pure Shoryukens, left and right side. And this is really good because I was actually kind of struggling to do a Shoryuken a little bit on the Japanese lever and even on hitbox a little bit in this game, but here. Okay, I'm kind of struggling now, but this game has really strict input, so I think that's what it is. Yeah, I think I gotta hit with the gusto you gotta have. Yeah, this game just has hard inputs, right? But yeah, I'm able to get it. It's just, if I miss it, it's just me. This game is very strict. Like, I got the input, but they want a very specific timing. Yeah, they want a very specific timing. But yeah, you also got your half circle forward, so you get Shakuretsu. He says Hadouken in the game, but the Shakuretsu in Street Fighter 4. Shakuretsu. Tatsumaki Senpu Kyaku. Right, so yeah, I'm not a super turbo guy, but you can see some stuff. I'm going to switch to Zangief real quick. Alright, so we're going to show you good old Zangief with this 360. Can this stick do 360s? Okay, let me try it. Can this stick do 360s? Yes, it can. It can do anything. Man, you see that? See that shit? You can do it either way you want to. Or at least I'm trying to. Let's see. You gotta factor in this game, you just got bitchin' inputs, right? Alright, I prefer doing it that way anyway. So yeah, you got your 360s. So you got your 360s. I'm gonna try to do it the other way one more time. Yeah, I just prefer the other way, I guess. So that's just my preference, right? So this game can absolutely do your 360s, man. Absolutely. This lever, I mean. Alright, this time this is actually going to be the last showcase. It wouldn't be... come on, show up. Oh, okay, I screwed up. Alright, there we go. Now, I promised, I did say that Street Fighter 2 was going to be the last one, Super Turbo, but actually the last one, as an SNK guy, I got to show an SNK game last. Especially with the infamous Geese Howard with his equally infamous Raging Storm input. If you don't know what that is, it's also referred to colloquially as the pretzel input, pretzel motion input, and it's this one, Raging Storm. So down, back into half circle, down, forward. So let's go. Let's see if we can get this first time. Of course we do, because this stick is goated, right? Let's do it player 2 side. Oh, I think I got it messed up. There we go. Yeah, when I reverse it, it's kind of... So, yeah. This stick is just very good, guys. It's excellent. Another thing I like about it is because the non-rotating shaft, I didn't know if I mentioned this previously, but it's very sturdy. It gives it a very sturdy, hefty feel where you just feel like you don't feel like your fingers are going to slip off at all. It makes it It makes it very good for when you're doing your circular inputs. You don't have to worry about you having to grip the stick so you don't lose control or whatever. It just stays in place, and honestly, it makes it hard to go back to a regular lever, like playing with this, you know, which I don't intend on going back to. I think this is the end game lever, but if I had to like play on another lever, I could, but it would just feel like flimsy by comparison after you're playing with this non-rotating shaft. It does feel weird at first, but once you get accustomed to it, it makes going back to like a regular rotating shaft, like, it makes it hard to go back to because it just makes it feel flimsy, right? But anyways, I would say that's the review. I thought about, you know, playing a little bit of shmups, but I don't think I would be the best guy to represent that because I'm not a big shmup guy. But I will say I've been on the shmup forum, and there was one guy who did say he really likes this lever, right? Because it's basically an LS40, and I think the LS40 is a good lever for shmups, right? So it's basically LS40 just with a non-rotating shaft, and you come with a cool bullet top, right? So this lever would definitely be good for shmups as well, but for 2D fighters, like 3D fighters, but for me, this is my 2D fighting stick, right? You know, this made for Tekken Mind, but it's my 2D fighting stick. This is an excellent stick, as you can see, doing my hyper hops seamlessly, hyper jumps, hyper hops. Just, yeah, I don't really play Geese because he's banned in this game. But anyways, if you guys like this, actually, before I say, but anyways, guys, that's the video. If you liked it, please click share, like, and subscribe, and I absolutely recommend this lever. It is a bit on the pricey side, but I do think it's worth it, right? I do think you're getting a quality product, so I would recommend this stick, even though it's a little bit on the pricier side compared to most levers. I think it's an amazing lever, and it's very much worth the price. Anyways, I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.